Oh, how's it going?
It's going pretty good. Another win. Obviously, we were calling for a easy victory or at least like a dominant victory.
Yeah.
It didn't really roll out that way for us as we were hoping, but yeah, man, what do you think?
Well, remember what I said about, I was gonna take the risk this time and give us that big comfortable victory? Never
Yep.
doing it again. Never ever doing it again. Not happening. But hey, you know, it is what it is, I suppose. As we've been saying all year, it's tough to watch sometimes, but at the end of the day, you'll definitely take the W. So
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, man, first I want to talk about the play where the refs on the other team or yeah, no, I'm not taking back the refs for the other team blocked Cam Bynum from probably an easy interception for a long touchdown to Curtis Samuel. That was that play by itself. Like that's the thing is like yeah, it was way closer than we wanted it to be. There's no question about that. But we do have to think like that one play was a huge game changer of the play of that entire game. And I honestly like it shouldn't have happened. Like if he doesn't run into Cam Bynum, he could have intercepted that, and the whole game would have been changed earlier on than that.
right.
So I want to put that. I mean that was you know outside of Harrison's interception, that might have been the biggest play of the game. So
Yeah, man. I was 1 second here.
but yeah, other than that though, again I think our defense stepped up this game for the most part. There obviously, there was that big play with Curtis Samuel, and even with Cam Bynum getting hit by the ref, we still did have two other players on Curtis Samuel, and we still should not have allowed that. And especially, but earlier in the game specifically, our defense was doing really well, and we got to yes, especially Daniil Hunter this game, but we got
Yeah,
to Taylor Heineke and we got him down. And of course, eventually it helped us create that interception.
right, for sure. Um, yeah, it was offensively. It was the first drive was amazing. I even put it on Twitter. I said this is what we need to see more consistently from this team. And I thought maybe this is going to be the first time that things were finally going to happen that way. And then of course after the first drive, it was stagnant until the fourth quarter. Every game this year, like I'd had that feeling that we were going to find a way to win. Beginning of the fourth quarter in this one, I actually thought like we're done. We're losing this game. We're gonna be 6-2, going to play the Bills. Like I was pretty down in the dumps, pretty frustrated. But at the end of the day, you come back and you'll take the W. Obviously, wish it would have been a cleaner game, but yeah, man. But of course, just like this team's been all year, at the end of the game when you need it the most, the offense finds a way. Harrison Smith took all the momentum back after that
Yeah.
crazy touchdown from Washington that you were
Yep.
talking about. After that, get the nice pass to Delvin in the end zone, and then come back, stop them, get the ball back again, and then the way that we played the end of that game was
Right.
absolutely perfect. That's what you want to
Perfect.
do.
And you have to, that's
Like
what makes this team so special though. That's like what makes this team so special actually is even though, we came in here thinking that we should dominate this game, no problem, which I still think we should have. Came out, scored right away. Huge momentum for us, just for us to for our offense to be completely stagnant for the next two quarters of the game. But what I do like about our team and what is special about our team is that Harrison Smith changed the momentum and we rode that momentum. Kirk Cousins comes in and we like, that's the thing is like, I was worried we're going to lose, but there's still that thought, like, we're not going to lose this game. We're not going to lose this game. And Kirk Cousins, gets the ball again and we go down the field and we score a touch, or actually we didn't go down the field because we were only at like the 20-yard line, but still, I mean, that beautiful catch by Delvin Cook for that touchdown was massive. And
mhm.
then, we come back down and score again for that field goal, which honestly we could have easily gotten a touchdown. But it's just like when it really matters, it's like, all right, let's just go win this game. We played long enough. Let's just go win this game type of thing. And we keep doing that over and over. Obviously, next week against a team the Buffalo Bills that had a pretty not very good loss to a Jets team that is very surprising and is good, but I'm not ready to call the Jets like an elite team by any means. So, I mean, we're going into this Buffalo game with, with a little bit momentum on our back and less momentum on their back. So it'll be interesting how that goes. And then one more thing I want to bring up is the Packers lost to the Lions. And that's great. So things are turning around, man. The Packers are headed towards the cellar of the division. That's something I'm here for.
Yeah, Vikings have a 4.5 game lead as of right now. Stranglehold on the division. Should have a pretty easy time wrapping this division up like relatively soon too, and that's kind of the fun part for sure.
Yeah, 3 games from now, we're going to clinch a playoff spot. That's how bad it's getting for them.
Yeah, but let's talk a little more offense here. Let's start at top with the quarterback. I feel like for the most part we're very fair when it comes to Kirk Cousins, and I feel like a lot of people don't. You're on one side or the other. It's like you will never ever criticize the guy, or you'll criticize him all the time. This game is a very good middle ground game for me because there were times when that first drive, he was fantastic. What was he, 5 for 5 or something like that with the touchdown pass?
Yep.
Middle of the game then, there was times where, I texted you, I said, here comes panic Kirk, because he had the one where he dropped back, had plenty of time, and he took like 3 steps back first, looked like he was going to step forward. Then he stepped back and ran out, just chucked the ball, didn't go anywhere. He had to throw to JJ that was short, that Justin Jefferson still should have caught. Obviously, it was right through his hands.
Right.
Then a couple other plays where it's like, man, what are you doing? Makes that decision to throw that little short ball to Delvin, and but then at the end, then he comes back at the end though with the touchdown pass to Cook, with the dime down the field to Justin Jefferson, which led to the field goal. Hitting Adam Thielen, putting it right on his hands on that big. What did Thielen have on that one? That was a 36-yard gain for Thielen. So then he goes back at the end, drives us down the field. And then he orchestrated that final segment perfectly,
Right.
That's what's nice. And I think Mark Schlereth was talking about it too. Like the situational football with this team is fantastic. Thank you, Washington, for that. The unnecessary roughness jumping over the center on the field goal try.
That was
made it much easier there. But yeah, man. And I think you texted me too with this offense is just they need to make Justin Jefferson a focal point more than they.
Well, they did in the beginning, and then he just kind of disappears. And I get it. He can be covered. They can, the defensive scheme can change more towards it, but that's different. We can tell earlier on in the games that we make plays specifically for Justin Jefferson. And then all of a sudden after that first drive, we just weren't really trying to do that as much because Justin Jefferson is so dynamic. Just the fact, the little pitch we gave to him and he got us a first down on that, or 2 or 3 of these short passes we threw for him just for him to get 5 yards after the catch on each of them. So it's we know we can get the ball into his hands some way. He's not going to be triple covered or whatever every single time where we can't get the ball in his hands. And we kind of just disappear there. And that's with Kirk Cousins and our entire offense. There's one thing that a pattern for sure for this year is we score right away. We do really good right in the beginning of the game. You could even say first quarter, but I would say the first drive pretty much. And then we come back and get things back on track at the end of the games. But in between, we don't seem to do a ton on offense. We just get stagnant every single game. And then, of course, that's what's cool about our team is then we come back and we start scoring when it really matters. But of course, it would be nice to keep that scoring. This is a game where it's we scored a touchdown. We stopped them 3-and-out. I believe we stopped them 3-and-out after that first drive. Whatever. They didn't make it anywhere. And then we get the ball back. It's that's when we need to go down and just go score again. I don't get why we go 3-and-out or something. We'll get 3 drives in a row, 3-and-out.
And maybe it's a script. After the script, maybe it's, that's where it gets a little bit wonky, but still, yeah, that's the most frustrating part. Cause I put out a tweet right there and too. I said, this is what we need to see more consistently. This offense can beat anybody in this league. And you just don't see it consistently yet. Unfortunately. And then, but yeah, man, and Kirk, one more thing I want to say about him, the deep shot to JJ took a hit. You never see Kirk laying on the ground, which that was surprising. But he is tough. Right. The guy is tough when he stands in there and makes the throws when he needs to do it. I think earlier on when he feels like he still has time, maybe he gets a little bit too comfortable. And that's when he maybe uncomfortable, comfortable but uncomfortable to where he doesn't feel like he needs to stand in there. He feels he can kind of bounce around a little bit and throw it away and whatnot. But
that's another thing
he is. And that's another thing. We all know for the most part, he's pretty risk averse, which is why I did respect the shot to Jefferson at the end of the half. 50-50 ball to Jefferson.
100%.
Everybody always said we want to see him more aggressive. Then he 100%. Does that. People are like, oh, what are you doing? You can't be making that throw. I put it on Twitter as well. I said I'm fine with that interception. Sure, the points would have been huge,
Right.
but just
Right.
the fact that he took a shot and just put the ball out there, which is what people have been asking him to do for years, is
Yes.
something you got to show a little bit of respect for at the very least.
Yeah, and I'm super happy that or at least I'm hoping that he gets off the field and he's like, "Oh, that's a shitty interception." Even KOC goes like, "Man, we should have took the points probably," but I'm hoping they're like, we got to take those chances. This is the NFL. Like, you're trying to win a Super Bowl here. You got to take those kinds of chances. You can't just go for those points there, especially when you got a guy like Justin Jefferson who usually does get those. He had the really nice catch earlier on. But yeah, I mean, overall, like Kirk Cousins is just doing the same Kirk Cousins things. I mean, starting off super hot, kind of slowing down in the middle, not just him, but our offense in general. And then, man, he just puts our team on his back when it needs to, and he steps up in crunch time, and that's huge. And if he keeps doing that, like, I honestly think we could beat any single team. It just might not be pretty. Doesn't matter what team we play. And of course, playing the Bills next weekend will show a lot of what we really are, as far as like, even in that game, it's going to be like, we need to step up. We can't just go stagnant in the second and third quarter. But who knows? Like, we might go to that game and the same thing might happen, and we still might end up winning that way.
Yeah.
And that might be just how we play games all year long. I don't know.
I think that's how it's going to be, because that's what they were kind of talking about that afterwards on the Fox post game show too. Is like Vikings will be the first one to wrap up their division, but how far in the playoffs will they go? Kind of depends on if they. Because you can't play like this all the time and expect to win, I guess. But at the same time, if you keep winning, then what else, like the NFL is hard. It's hard to win a game in the NFL. We know that. And that's the thing with Washington, is they're incredibly scrappy. As we saw, Taylor Heineke is a scrappy quarterback. I appreciate the way he plays football. And they have a lot of talent on that team. That defense has showed us a lot as well.
With Chase Young coming back too,
sure.
that defensive line is a lot more impressive than I was expecting, to be honest.
But yeah, man, it's like it doesn't feel like you can consistently keep winning games this way. But I guess as long as you keep putting those W's in the win column, that's
what we're doing.
Yeah,
more than the Bills.
Next week going to the Bills, I think that's going to be the biggest test of, can you keep winning this way? Can you at least keep it close enough with them to where at the end you have a chance to do what we've been doing and taking those 1-score wins? So it'll be interesting to see. But some other offensive notes here. Let's bring up some statistics.
Yep, Kirk Cousins 265. I want to also just talk to everybody who's watching us right now. Hey, thanks for tapping in. Let us know what you think of this game. Right in the comments, man. We want to talk to you guys. Just put it in there, and don't forget to subscribe if you're not already, of course. But yeah, let's talk about this game, man. I mean, this is exciting. We're still 7-1 in this season. Every single game brings your blood pressure up. It's exciting. I mean, I wish it was more dominant, but it is exciting. And we're going into the Bills next week, and that's going to be the biggest game of the year for us.
So do we have the second best record in the NFL then, or are we tied for the second best record?
I
think we have it, don't we? Because Philadelphia.
Has the Cowboys lost?
I feel like Cowboys City, I guess tonight Kansas City might match us, because I think they're.
I don't know if I think they lost to the Bills, but I think they lost another game.
Oh yeah, they did. Yeah, they have 2 losses.
I feel like the Cowboys might only have, I feel like the Cowboys might only have 1 loss.
No, they lost to Tampa and they lost to Philadelphia.
So yeah, we're going to be outside of 8-0. The only team that we lost to, by the way, the 8-0 Philly. That's another thing too, man. I mean, our power rankings is going to be interesting this year, or this week. We have the second best record. Let's go. I mean, the second best record. See, the wins are here. It's so comforting knowing that Kirk Cousins just steps up in crunch time. It's like, it doesn't matter what's going on in the game. There's this feeling like you're still going to win this game, which is huge. But it would be nice to win games a little earlier, so you're not, just scared the entire time. But
2 more things that I do want to say somewhat negatively about the offense, since I saw the Nick Mullins stat here. As I said, I thought they did a really good job on that final possession there. But before they got the penalty, the one thing that I really did not care for was the decision to throw it a couple times. Like, I would have rather I think we were kind of texting about it during that scenario as well. I would have rather just ran it and either force Washington to use their timeout or get it down to the 2-minute warning going into second down, not third. So you still have some options open to you. That was a little bit whatever.
Right.
And then the one play when Mullins came in, I know that they're saying Mullins has experience and they were going to try to kind of trick him a little bit. I would have rather just run the ball there as well.
Yeah, it would have been the obvious play. It It would have been the obvious play. Of course, they
Yeah,
knew like they're going to run the ball. I knew we were going to go in there and probably run the ball. Obviously, we did the TJ Hawkinson, which was a little bit of surprise, but it wasn't that crazy. You know, if anything, maybe you have him roll out and throw the ball out of bounds,
yeah.
or even like run for a yard and slide or something like that instead. But so it's like the play calling that I do like. Well, with them, that's a hard one because he goes out and then he hasn't played any snaps with us on offense. So it's like, who knows? Who knows? The last thing you want to do is him come in there and throw an interception or something,
Yeah,
even though I doubt it. So it's an
right.
interesting situation. But yeah, let's
Speaking
continue
of
going into these stats because
speaking
there
of
is
TJ
some
Hawkinson, though, we gotta stop and just talk about
and
that a
talk
little bit.
about
The
him
guy
right
had like
away.
2 or 3 days of practice, comes in 9 catches, 70 yards. Um, I remember like the first catch he had was wide open, middle of the field, jumped up, caught it. Like the guy's huge, good hands, got a little
Dude.
bit of breakaway speed, a little bit of speed there, breaks and tackles. Like that was an amazing trade by Kwesi. I
Oh,
that one
dude.
was
Comes
it's
in right
already it's
away.
already showing good things.
9 receptions and 70 yards. I'm pretty sure that 70 yards would have been good for his second most yards and maybe receptions of the entire season. He does have a game where he had like 170 yards receiving, but man, he comes in and does great right away. I'm going to play devil advocate a little bit, not on him in general, but the play calling. We had like 3 of those little screen
Yeah,
including the Mullins, and it was like that was not working at all on any of them. I didn't know why we kept doing it. But at the very least, man, I'm so glad that we're trying to get the ball in his hands, and he does open up something huge for this offense going forward. Hopefully, we can just keep consistent play calling after the first quarter. But
yeah, for sure. But yeah, Delvin, pretty mediocre day on the ground, 17 carries, 47 yards. Did have the receiving touchdown we talked about. Jefferson with the big run for the first down. Madison didn't really get in there too much, only 2 carries, which is kind of surprising. But I guess you were playing from down for most of the second half. In the first half, you really couldn't sustain many drives to keep the team out there. So kind of is what it is there. JJ again, kind of quietly, 7 catches, 115. Finally got back into the end zone and on a for receiving touchdown. Already touched on Hawkinson. Thielen, okay. Obviously, we all love Adam Thielen, Minnesota grown kid, or Minnesota grown guy. Still a pretty solid stat line: 3 catches, 67 yards. Had the huge 36-yard catch from Kirk there, but I don't know. I get Fuller had some really good coverage on him, but you just feel
right.
like a couple of the balls that he dropped are ones that Adam Thielen normally finds a way to bring in. And obviously he's in his 30s now, so you can't really expect him to be like the guy he used to be. But he's definitely he's definitely coming down a little bit. You can feel the regression. I do think it would have been nice to get another receiver. I mean, I know Hawkinson can catch, but it would have been nice to get like another receiver because KJ Osborne also just doesn't. I don't think he's consistent enough at this point in his career to be considered the true number 2 wide
No,
receiver.
he's not. I love KJ Osborne. I
Right.
expected huge things from him this year, but he hasn't really stepped up. And I don't know if that's entirely his fault. But even today, I mean, he had like a couple drops, or at least that one drop that I think he should have had. And when you get limited opportunities, you probably should step up. I mean, who knows? I'm not a football player. That's easy for me to say, but
Mhm.
everyone else would say that. So
Yeah. And then obviously, in the passing game, a big part of it is Kirk having time. And let's talk about the offensive line a little bit. Ed Ingram, man, I don't know. I mean, I get it. He's a
mhm.
rookie, kind of learning on the job, but you might need to think about making a move there sooner rather than later. Just he got it. He got a taste of it. Then maybe let him sit down, kind of watch, the older like the vets play.
It's not a
Because
bad
it's just
plan.
he's just I don't know. It's not looking good yet at this point.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
he has some good
Achilles
reps, but he also
Achilles
gets
heels
blown
of
up
this
quite a bit.
offensive line for sure. But you were
Yeah.
talking about receivers, and I'm not totally taking out the chance of getting Odell. Obviously, I would want it to be like a pretty solid deal or whatever. But man, if he could come in and be that wide receiver too for us, that would be huge. Because I know, obviously, of course, there's rumors right away when we uh changed some of Brian O'Neill's contract to
Yeah.
a bonus or whatever. And of course, everyone's like, oh, they're setting or creating cap room for ODB. But I mean, if we were able to get him, just imagine like you just add that to the wide receivers because Hawkinson is already a huge addition, and we saw it immediately. So hopefully, that is pretty good. But I do think hopefully Adam Thielen, he still is getting open in the hands thing. It's like, man, I don't know, like getting older, does your hands really get worse? and maybe unless like
Hand-eye coordination,
your
maybe, you know? Yeah.
hand-eye coordination just gets worse. All right, I'll give you that, but we'll see. Hopefully,
Yeah.
Adam Thielen will just get it together. He's someone he puts in work outside of the outside of games and stuff on
Yeah.
in practice and everything. So I think he's someone that will come back and try to make sure that's all good. But
Yeah, let's
yeah,
see. You counted 5 drops, 2 from AT, 2 from JJ, 1 from KJ. Yeah, drops were an issue today at
yeah, for sure.
many points of that game. So, but yeah, also, Garrett Bradbury, we saw Schlottman come in. I know he hasn't gotten a lot of run, but I thought Bradbury looked, it was a small sample size for Schlottman, but I thought Bradbury actually looked better than he was. So maybe Bradbury's finally kind of got it figured out. Yeah, I mean, Kirk only took 2 sacks, but I think they said he was hit like 13 times and 18 pressures or something. So, I mean, obviously we know the offensive line still isn't perfect. Darrisaw and O'Neal are obviously the best players there. The guys in the middle, a little up and down at times, but it kind of is what it is there. So offensively, obviously would have loved to have seen more consistency, especially, especially in the middle section of the game, like the second
Yeah,
and third
that's
quarter,
it.
where things were really, I
It's
mean, and
just it's so
honestly, up until the fluky touchdown,
the
that
biggest fluky. Let's bring that up again. We'll bring it up like 10 times. Well, we're probably not gonna be on here for too much longer, but bring it up like 10 times. Man, that the ref getting in the way of Cam Bynum's name was that was completely unlucky for us. And I do think this game would not have been as crazy close and as you know, um, just full of anxiety without that play. If that play didn't happen, I don't think that happens. I think Cameron Bynum goes in there, he gets the interception, and this whole game is completely different from that going forward. So I do think that this game is, I think that one play kind of made this game a lot closer than it would have been. But yeah, I mean that was a pretty bad play to me. I think. It's weird how that can happen. I get it. Like, I know the ref, of course. At least I think so. It is a hometown ref. But I think he didn't do it on purpose. But I don't know, man. I ain't throwing it out there for sure.
right. But yeah, so offensively, it's just one of those things where they still haven't played their best ball in this game. I wouldn't put it there either. Anything else you want to say about the offense before we move on to some defensive stuff here?
Just that, we do come out there, we score like most of these games on the very first drive. We go stagnant for the next 2 quarters, and then we step up at the end of the games. Hopefully, we can figure out how to keep it going earlier on. And, obviously, we've been saying it all year. Let's win games early instead of it always having to come to the end of the games.
Yeah.
But as long as we win, who cares? Second best record in the entire NFL. You can't be too disappointed with that. Definitely can't be. So yeah, let's jump in the defense here.
For sure. So before we start getting into all the stats here, my 2 defensive MVPs for this game, Zadarius Smith was affecting Taylor Heineke all day long, getting in the backfield, fantastic, and to Caleb Evans, who in the run game is just aggressive. That's what you want to see from a cornerback, especially someone so young. Yeah. So
Yeah,
I was
I'm gonna say mine. I gotta put Danielle Hunter in there.
Yeah, the 2 sacks from Danielle were pretty nice.
Over Zadarius Smith in this game. I think Hunter had the most pressures. Obviously, the stats say sacks or whatever, but I think in general, he was all over the place in this game. 2 tackles for a loss as well. But I'd have to agree. And then Harrison Smith's play, obviously, that's such a huge play. What did they say? 3 interceptions in 3 weeks in a row now? I believe so, man. Harrison Smith is that guy. He's been that guy, and he's stepping up again, the leader of our defense. And it's so great to see him have kind of what people would call as a bounce back season. I put him up, but you got to give a Caleb Evans some absolute love this game. He played a fantastic game, especially with Dancer going out early.
Yeah, for sure. And so let's see, how many passes defense did we have? We have 7 pass defense today, 6 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, 2 from Danielle. 1 from DJ Wanham got in there again. But yeah, man. So defensively,
Kofi, I 100% agree with you. I mean, I'm somebody that, I'm up and down with Kirk all the time, depending on how he plays. But statistically, it hasn't been the best. We're missing in the middle of games types of statistics and stats from him. We're just not doing a lot, but he is coming down at the end of games and winning games. And at the end of the day, that's all you want your quarterback to do. I don't care who our quarterback is, if they can win games, that's all that matters. Because all I care about is trying to win a championship. I don't care
Yeah.
how many stats you have, you know?
Right. And that's always been the thing with Kirk. People always said like the stats are great, but where are the wins? And now those same people, I feel like now are complaining like, yeah, he's winning, but where are his stats? He's not looking as good as he normally does. It's like just pick a side. Be happy. Be
Yeah.
happy that we're winning.
He's
And
stepping up in
it
big
is what it is.
situations this year, and
Exactly. He's
that's
making the
that's
throws that he needs to
massive.
make. Yeah.
That's massive. But sorry I cut you off there big time.
No, you're good. But yeah, defensively, I felt like, I mean, yeah, again, we kind of, allowed some of those big chunk plays and, some easy completions. Tackling was just not there when you needed it to be in like the second, mainly in the third quarter.
Right,
But
right. The
overall,
third
the first
quarter is the word, like 3 of the quarters our defense played fantastic. The third quarter it was awful.
Yeah, for sure. But obviously, again, the fluky, what would have been an interception ended up being a touchdown. I don't really count that against them, but it did kind of flip that momentum.
Yeah.
But I felt like the defense actually played pretty solidly. Again, a lot of it was Zadarius Smith getting all the pressure, Daniel Hunter with a couple sacks, and then Harrison Smith flying around back there, Caleb Evans coming up in the run game. So defensively, I was actually pretty impressed. I think the last couple weeks they've made pretty significant strides. Again, allowing some chunk plays, but a lot of defenses do. So I've got to tip my hat to them. They've actually been at least to the point where it's not like as frustrating as it was
Right,
before.
right.
Still don't know. The jury's still out on Ed Donatel as defensive coordinator, but
Mhm.
it kind of is what it is, I suppose.
Yeah, this was a game that we won because of our defense. It felt like at least most of the game, and because our offense just got so stagnant after that, and our defense was stopping Heineke. And before that huge play that Heineke had, that lucky play to Curtis Samuel, I could easily say, like, if you took that one out of there, like, our defense had a fantastic game. So
Yeah, for sure. We did allow 137 rushing yards, which like we didn't allow like a big chunk to one player. Obviously
right,
their
right.
top rusher was Brian Robinson with 44, but still like see that number down a little bit, but I
Mhm.
guess it could be a lot worse. But yeah, so again, pretty impressed with defense. Yeah, I don't know. Any
Yeah.
other thoughts on defense at all?
No, I think we're good there. Yeah, I mean, overall, it was another nail biter, and we'll keep this going. And next week we're going into a game against Buffalo, which we thought was the most talented team, but they lost to the Jets. I don't even know. You got to say the Eagles are above them now, but we're going in with momentum after a W, even if it's a close one, and they're going in after a loss. Hopefully we can step up in that game and win there. I also want to just thanks everybody for watching. Whoever's in this on live video, we are planning on continue going live after every single game for the rest of the season. To kind of do like a review thing. So definitely tap in whenever we do that. And yeah, what do you think, Casey?
One more thing, kicking game. Greg Joseph
Hmm.
didn't miss any kicks today. Thumbs
Let's
up.
go. Let's go.
Coverage, though, I would like to see him just kick the ball through the back of the end zone from here on out.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
it's the whole. It's yeah, just kick it through the back of the end zone. Just make sure they don't, because they had a couple big returns on us today.
right,
Obviously, one of them
right.
set up that big touchdown. Yeah, man, I don't know. Let's see what Kofi got this time. I've been hard on the bend but not break defense, but they played great today. That tackle on the ref on behind him changed the game for them. Very true, very true. I felt like the defense really had things going until that, and that was a kind of a big momentum
Right, which wasn't their fault. I mean,
swing
that
around
that was
that.
an interception. That was
Yeah,
going to be
for
the
sure.
complete
It was triple. It
opposite.
was triple coverage.
Triple
Like
coverage, and Bynum had the perfect spot on him. Like, the ref literally looked like he ran right in, like he did run
yeah,
right into him. It almost
yeah,
looked on purpose. I know it
yeah,
wasn't on
almost,
purpose, but
almost. Yeah,
I'm blaming it. They're
yeah,
hometown refs, but
yeah,
we still won. That's all that
yeah.
matters.
For sure, for sure. But yeah, I definitely agree. I thought the defense actually looked pretty good, and I think a big thing with Daniil is I think he is finally figuring out. Maybe he's finally getting more comfortable in that stand up outside.
Ooh, that's
Because
scary.
last week he got in there a little
Scary.
bit too. So
Right. Yeah,
and
dude. You get
he's way
Danielle
too
Hunter each
talented to
game.
not figure it out. I mean,
Right, right, dude. Zadarius Smith and Danielle Hunter here on out, I think they're just gonna get better and better. We've already seen Zadarius Smith the last few weeks catch fire, and it's Danielle Hunter's turn. And both those guys on fire, man. I don't know how anybody's. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's Josh Allen next week. We're about to find out. I think we win those. So let's go.
you think we've? Oh,
I think we win. I'm calling a win. Are you kidding me? They lost to the Jets. I know it's like I ain't scared of the Jets. I know they're a decent team this season, but we ain't losing to the Jets. We play them this year too. We'll beat them too. Might be right at the end of the game. There might be like 2 minutes left and we have to go down and score just to win. Yeah. But we're still gonna win.
2017 W over. We're back. Okay, cool. Sorry. Anyway, 20-17 W on the road. 7-1, leading the division by 4.5 games.
Oh, we will. We're gonna kill the Jets.
It's
calling it right now.
pretty fair. Watch us run the ball well against the Bills. I could see it. You never know. I hope so.
It could be the play.
Yeah,
we don't have to worry about their running backs that
well,
much.
Because they allowed a bunch of yards to Aaron Jones last week. How did James Robinson do against them this week?
I know James Robinson scored a receiving touchdown. I think Michael Carter scored a rushing touchdown. I don't know how many yards they had, but yeah, man, I think that's a game. Obviously, we're going to have a video out later this week talking about that game specifically because it's going to be hyped, man. I mean, them coming off of a loss against the Jets and us being 7-1 and a better record than them now, I think that kind of just upped the ante going into this game, and it's going to be the most hyped game of the season for us. And if we win that game, like, I don't even know. I don't even think I can handle it. Next Sunday, when we beat the Bills, tap in for sure because shit's going to get crazy.
Is that a 325 game next week, or is it?
That's a good question. I have no idea. Probably, man. They should put that as prime time.
Let's find out. I mean, in order to do that, they'd had to have made that decision last week. I think it's got to be like 13 days beforehand.
Right.
No, it's a nooner. It's a noon game. So
it's a noon game. Wow, noon game. So yeah, noon game.
But they're saying that. So I mean, I think that would have to come up by tomorrow because we play. Yeah. So, but they said they might end up flexing the Cowboys Vikings game into Sunday night, which. I don't know. The primetime thing does kind of scare me off a little bit, but
I know, dude. The NFL is just against Kirk Cousins or something. Like, let's get this dude as many primetime games as we can get him.
Yeah. But
speaking of that, though, Kirk Cousins did beat his own team, so we know he can step up in a big situation like that.
Right, for sure.
Proved it.
But again, and I'm sure after in the post game interviews and stuff, they'll probably be saying it again that you'll take the win. But they still haven't played their best football. Because, again, today was inconsistent. It was frustrating. I was a roller coaster of emotions for me. I was mad. I was happy. I was sad. Then I was happy again. And
sounds about right every single game for this whole entire season.
But at the end of the day, we go to sleep tonight 7-1. Big lead in the division. Let's go.
Going against the Bills next week. Get ready. This is going to be crazy. So
yeah, for sure. We're looking forward to it. So yeah, again, everybody watching, thanks for joining. It's fun. We'll be doing this more often. And Skol Vikes. And we'll see you guys on the next episode.
Like you said, Skol Vikes.